This time we're in my garage and we're gonna install a mini split unit. I have installed several of these now, and this one I'm super excited about because it's just awesome.
Welcome to the Burnouts and Rotor Blades YouTube channel. Let's go do something awesome.
Don't hate me because I'm beautiful. This right here is for another rental house. We're gonna go with a multi-zone. Won't pay attention to that right now. We got all our line sets here, and now we're gonna start mounting this one. We have these, some kind of paperwork that I won't need. I've already gone up in the attic and kind of figured out where I want it. We're gonna have to relocate this plug because I kind of want it like here-ish and not have to move my light. So that's the goal. We'll see. Whoever did my house did a good job. You know, they planked it all up so that we have places to store all of our seasonal crap. I went ahead and installed a light up there to a switch so I have ability to see said crap. Now where I wanted to install it initially was in this section here, but somebody sistered up some 2x4s. So now we're stuck right here, which, you know, not the worst thing in the world. We need 22.4 and we got 22.5, so it'll just fit. Those shop lights out there, you can see the drywall anchors coming up for them right here, and I don't really want to mess with that too much. So I'm gonna come over another like 2 inches back from this. And whenever I do that, it puts my other 22.5 inch mark here. So we're gonna have to relocate that. Luckily, it is the end of the run, so I can put it pretty much anywhere, probably up underneath here. For now, I'm gonna take my keyhole saw right here and make a real ugly, yet too small hole, so I can go down there and really get a good look at where everything's coming through. Well, there's no going back now. Test fit. It's not even kind of close. Green tape. Whoa, there's not green tape. Probably right up to glass. Come on, you get in your hole. Where that should be. That's right there on the ground in front of my face. This is going to be a process we're going to repeat like 8,000 times. All right, now we got these lag bolts bolted up. I'll show you on top here in a second, but we got them all sticking through. I made sure that they were just above the drywall. This thing's still all cattywampus in here, so I'm going to drop it down and hopefully it doesn't fall on my phone. 17 mil, 9/16. The instructions say you want it like 3/4 of an inch up from the bottom, and that's so the sealing surface of the panel, which we're going to put on, has somewhere to go. We're going to want this to go into the wall, and then that way this piece can set flat up against the drywall. Well, it looks perfect. Can't see anything that I would change or do differently. Maybe wipe off, you know, the fingerprints on there, but there's nothing else that I would mention other than the fingerprints. We're gonna take this cover off and plug in all these plugs, and then it'll be time to do everything up top that I'm dreading because it's hot, because I did this in August.
The outdoor part of this mini split unit was taken from my rental property, a 4-plex, when I upgraded the mini split in that unit to a 3-zone mini split. If you want to know more about that, the link is up here in the corner.
So after some trial and effort, we got the drain line run up, right? It's up here temporarily. We got some more fittings to put on. Right now I'm connecting up the main AC line. I'll pull back the excess back down through that because we actually need it. And then here's our control line right here, run in and already connected. Nothing's connected outside yet. I just have everything in the attic done and run down to the outside. As soon as it's connected and I'm sure that it doesn't leak, I'll come back and put all this insulation back over it, and then we'll go ahead and throw all those floor panels back on.
It is important to use 2 wrenches when tightening these brass lines to prevent damage caused by inadvertently twisting. The lines from the ceiling cassette are very short and soldered into the evaporator core. Really, any twisting force could cause a leak and you won't realize it until everything's installed. Next up is to attach the condensation drain line. It's important to follow the instructions and make sure that there is a downward slope to keep the condensation flowing to the outside away from the unit.
I don't buy the blue stuff anymore because I don't do it enough to just need PVC pipe.
It's also a good idea to make sure that there's a clean out because clogs are common. A capful of bleach a couple of times a year is recommended, so make sure it's easily accessible.
And I do intend to leave this loose like this so that I can, if I ever need to remove this or replace this piece, I can get it out of there.
Where I want the control conduit to come out is, I don't know, probably a good 4 inches away from the wall. So we're gonna go inside and heat a little S-curve into this. Light some fire and let it bend down. That'll give us the right angle. If we take this here, we look at the straight line, and we can see that our maximum here is only about 3 inches of separation. We need a lot more separation, so I'm going to throw it back in the vise and sneak up on it a little bit more. But now that we have this pretty sweet bend in there, we're going to go chuck it up in the opposite direction, and we're going to try to get it to bend right about here so that this arm and then that last piece are then parallel. So that's what I'm going to be doing, is looking down this way to see what's parallel. See, and now that looks a lot better. Fits right back up into that hole and then down the wall nicely. Now I've got the conduit run down. That's for the main power. It loops back that way just because I thought it looked cooler keeping them all together. Loops back that way and comes down here to this junction box, which already have the pigtail off of this when it was installed in the other house. I've just installed and tightened these lines here. And just like the lines in the attic, it's important to prevent the twisting force on these valves, but the way to do that is a little different.
I'll take this one off for the gauge.
My gauge set ends are for R134A in automotive applications, so this adapter is needed. You can order it from Pioneer or source the parts from a local AC supply house. I did the latter, but I wish I would have just saved myself the time and effort and ordered the adapter when I ordered the AC units.
First thing we're going to do is pull a vacuum on our little system here and make sure there's no leaks in the actual gauge set. We're testing this fitting, all these fittings all the way up to here to see if we're going to be able to pull a vacuum, and we clearly have a leak. So we'll assess that first.
With that leak fixed, it's time to move on and test the entire system.
So now we're pulling vacuum starting from here in a big loop all the way through these lines into the ceiling, down to the indoor unit, through it, then back out up to this. So this is getting vacuum pulled from here all the way back through, all the way to here. And it's going to take a while to pull vacuum, but it's moving. I've got now my nitrogen bottle. I'm running it through the gauges, and we're going to fill up this system. It's a little bit weird because this fitting doesn't quite fit. So when I crank it on, I have the regulator already set to 100 psi. Filling everything with 100 psi. Go ahead and shut this one back off. Close this too. We're gonna pop this one off and see what's wrong with it. I feel like if you look at it, you can see that it's kind of made a little bit wonky. Might have to reflare that one. 592 and a half. We do have a little leak. You can still see it bubbling out. A little bit better. All I did was reseat it.
Every install I've done this far has had leaks at connections, and a vacuum leak down test might not be enough to reveal all the leaks. I have learned from costly experiences that pressure testing connections with nitrogen is the single most cost-effective way to avoid a big bill from an AC company. I use dry nitrogen because it doesn't introduce moisture into the AC system. Moisture is the biggest enemy of an AC system and the reason why we vacuum down the system before filling it with refrigerant. The mini splits I'm using in this installation come pre-charged with refrigerant from the manufacturer. This charge amount is good for up to 50 feet of line, so I will not have to add any for this installation unless it leaks out. The soap and water method of leak detection is recommended by the manufacturer. However, they want it done after releasing a small amount of refrigerant stored in the machine. As you can see, getting rid of all the leaks took quite a bit of time and a lot of trips up into the attic and back out. And it also took a lot of nitrogen, so it seems like a gamble to do it the way the manufacturer recommends. I didn't have to reflare any of the ends because loosening and reseating them eventually did the trick. A small tank of nitrogen is less than a pound of refrigerant and a trip charge from an AC company where I live, so this process is well worth the trouble.
Let's tighten it down one more time. And we're at 103. Come back in 5 minutes and see where it's at.
I had everything up to this disconnect box wired up by an electrician, but the last run was pretty straightforward, so just make sure to flip off the breakers before messing with anything electrical.
This thing held dead nuts at 103 for a good, I don't know, long enough for me to install the wire inside of here and get this glued up. Now we're going to go ahead and vacuum her down. Got it freshly serviced with oil. And this one, she'll start coming down. I just don't want it to blast 100 psi right through my vacuum pump.
There is some debate on whether the pipe insulation on the condensation drain line is necessary. One side says the cold water in the pipe will attract condensation that could drip off, and the other side would rather chance a ceiling drywall repair instead of spending the $8 on insulation. I say pipe insulation is cheap insurance. I might be going overkill by facing the insulation seam up and wrapping the joints in tape, but you know, you can never have too much overkill.
Alright, things are starting to get pretty serious. We pulled vacuum down for this last time. This came in the mail, which is awesome. Pretty excited about that. We have our two lines, one for the control, which is down here, and one for the powers up here. Went ahead and did some UV wrappage on our actual lines. We did all kinds of soap testing, and right now we've been holding at 13 inches of mercury vacuum for probably 20 minutes or so, maybe 25 minutes. This is always the nerve-wracking part, where what we want to do is we want to throw this in here. We're going to crack this open for a second, and then we're going to read, and then we're going to close it. So we're listening. All right, now we're closing it, and we're coming up here. We'll see where it stops. All right, we gave it about 5 minutes, and it didn't move at all. So now we're going to open it up the rest of the way. Now it's been holding for a while, so we're going to go over here and we're going to open this guy up, and we're going to open them up all the way. Whenever that valve comes open, it will shut off this one, so we can't take this one off with pressure, or we're going to shoot a bunch of it out. So we're going to open up this guy. Pretty sure like a snake or something just went past me.
If I was smart, I would have used the vacuum pump to pull the pressure out of the gauge set, but...
Well, here goes nothing. That's a good sign. Heck yes. Let's go outside and make sure the outside's doing all right. All right, the outside unit is putting out warm air here. No bangs, no pops, no leaks. I cleaned that up, looks nice now. Next thing, we'll just have to get the beauty kit that takes it up into the attic. Sorry about the noise of the fan right above me. Got everything all covered up, and all the lines are adjusted. I had previously squished this underneath here. We took care of that that plug that was up underneath, and I rolled this back out as best I could to kind of fill up the air gap. And back here, we have a little bit of a working area should I ever need any kind of service. Just put that over it and kind of try to dial in the edges. And you can see everything run over there. All right, so having a AC system with an uninsulated garage door is pretty much pointless. Now, whenever I installed this thing or reinstalled it, I made sure all the gaps are really tight. Like this thing actually touches the wall whenever it closes. It's very, very tight all the way around. You can barely even see light. So I went and bought these garage door insulation kits. I got 2 of them, so.
Of course.
Everything's nice and cleaned up. We have our power lines come in. We have our drain line coming down. The last thing we need to do is install this PVC line cover kit. I want to cover this whole thing all the way down around this, all the way up to right up underneath here where the UV protection goes. I'd like to kind of like end it right there and then let the line set go around. It'd be really nice if I could get it to where they all lined up perfectly right here, but that's just my OCD talking, you know. Seems to be working fine. It's been working for a few days. We have, like I said, just to cover up. Start off just kind of sighting it in. You know, that's where the top is, and we'll go down here. Oh, that's where the elbow is going to go. And we'll sight forward from the elbow. That looks like it'll follow that line. And then we just start dropping all the straight pieces in. And here's the last thing we're going to do to seal up the garage door is this seal, which we have to hammer in all the way around.
And that's it for this video. If you liked what you saw, please like, comment, subscribe, do all the things down below and up and everywhere around, and enjoy my son being a complete goober.
All right, go ahead, break it with your face.